to the Elan Valley. Now, if this scene looks at all familiar to you, it's because I filmed here in this pretty much exact spot last year. I think it was last year, just after I'd had a haircut. Now, on that occasion, I was shooting some medium format film. On this occasion, I've decided to revisit spots that I already know because I want to get a good idea of what it's like to shoot the Sigma BF, which I've been loaned by Sigma for a couple of weeks. Now, this isn't a review video. It's not even going to really cover many of the features of it. It's just going to be me taking some photos on it, and I'll do some other things in some other videos. I think it's a really interesting camera, and Sigma cameras traditionally are really nice to use landscape cameras more than anything else, and I made a video about the FPL in the past. This time I'm going to be trying it something a little bit different. Last time I shot on the Mamiya 645 with an 80mm lens, so roughly a 50mm equivalent, and that's partly because there were a lot of other people here at the time, but today I'm all alone. It's lovely. It's 7:30-ish, and the road is closed to Aberystwyth further up the valley, so there's kind of no one else here, and that means I'm going to work the scene a little bit with the 16-28 f2.8, which is my lens, and this is what I usually use for video, so it's going to be a little bit more complicated with this, but never mind. I don't usually shoot much wide-angle photography. I thought I'd give it a proper go and try and get more of the bridge in this time. This evening I'm only going to be photographing this scene. I'm going to move around a bit and try and find the ideal location, and I'm going to set up my tripod, which is a rarity for me because I want to get it just as the light levels really dip. I want to get the highest quality photo. But first, I need to find the right photo. So let's wander around a little bit. Contrary to what a lot of people said in the reviews of this camera, I don't find the screen too dim in most situations. It's only really in direct sunlight, and honestly, most EVFs are too dim then as well. Okay, annoyingly, the sun has just gone behind a cloud as it's coming up towards sunset, but there is a slight gap, and I'm hoping it will go through that fairly soon. So with it overexposed, just so you can see more easily on this is how I've framed up the shot, and I'm pretty happy with that framing. It's got a nice leading line with the wall, but obviously the light has now died here, and that's a shame. So I'm going to wait and see what happens with these clouds. I don't know if you can see those on this or not. There, I'm hoping the sun goes into that gap momentarily, and then I can try and take this photo. However, if it doesn't work out tonight, then I can come back early in the morning for sunrise instead. Looks like we're getting a little bit of sunlight, so let's turn the BF back on and take another shot, because I never know when the last bit of sunlight is going to be here. I'm going to enable the self timer. Oh no, you do it that way, don't you? There we go. Right, just to get rid of any it's an exciting beep. Anyway, while we're waiting for the sky to ideally become kind of perfect, I think the sun needs to come across a little bit further. I keep staring directly into it, which is never a good idea. Might as well talk about this tripod a little bit. I was sent this the other day by Falcam, who make an equivalent to the Peak Design capture clip, a significantly better one. They did actually send me that as well, and I'll cover that in another video, but safe to say it's quite notably better designed. This is a really interesting tripod. It is a travel tripod, whatever that actually means, and it's the TreeRoot 61-inch C141. Complicated name, like all modern tripods apparently. And I'm very, very impressed by it. It just feels nice. Never thought I'd say that about a tripod. It feels really, really well made. I like picking it up, which is starting to make me sound insane. And there's just something nice about it. It is just nicely machined. It's not too heavy. It's very stable, particularly the center post, which is a really novel design. It's a sort of concave triangle, and it doesn't rotate. So if you've got a really torquey head, like a fluid video head, and you want it really stiff, well, the center post isn't going to start rotating. That's really nice. The one thing I would potentially change on it myself is I'd probably swap this ball head out for one with additional controls, something like a geared head, because that's largely the sort of style I'm going to use this for, would be sort of landscape photography, those sorts of things. And I will actually use this tripod. As much as I've always said I don't use tripods a lot, for things like this, the BF, which doesn't have image stabilization, and when you're doing landscape photography like this, where you want to get lovely late evening light, well, they are very useful. And it is nice to have a tripod that is actually quite nice to use. I have no real complaints about it. Now, it is notably more expensive than the newer travel tripod on which I'm filming, but it is still notably cheaper than the Peak Design one. So it's kind of interesting. And yeah, I thought it would be a good use for it today at least, and hopefully it proves to be so. But anyway, my shot is set up and the sun is back briefly, so let's get the BF back on again, and let's try another photo. I think the sky is still very blown out at the moment, and I think I'm going to have to really heavily underexpose this in order to sort that, and I don't think going 4 stops under is necessarily a good idea. So really I need the sun to go a little bit further over. It's on the top of a hill over there at the moment, but I think this is the last of the light that I'm going to get for this evening. It's unfortunate that those trees are sheltering the church, so I may have to come back in the morning, I mean really early, I think sunrise is about 4 AM, and try again. I did spy this shot before. It's going to be a very oddly framed video, this, but just as the sun goes behind the mountain, let's see what happens. Get a little bit. So I've framed up differently. I now have the tripod down low, and I'm going to try and get some foreground interest in this. I'm giving up with that idea for the moment because everything is a little bit dark, and I'm just going to try and get a very soft look as the sun goes behind there. I'm going to try and get more of the water in and some blurry plants in the foreground and see how it comes out. That bit of bramble's a little bit in the way, annoyingly, so let's try moving around that a little bit this way. Something like that. I'll just go up to F4, I think. So I'm shooting in a bracket, 2 stops either side, 5 photos, and it's not because I usually do a HDR merge, but it just gives me an idea of what it should look like at each stage of exposure, and it's quite interesting. Yeah, I'm quite happy with how that looks. I don't know if it's the perfect photo of this scene, but I do think it's at least vaguely interesting. I have just stung my leg on a stinging nettle. That's predictable. Okay, well, I think that's it for this evening. I'm going to give up now as the sun has dipped behind the hill, and I'm going to go head back the way I came, back towards the town where I'm staying, and maybe the sun will catch a few more things on the way. But other than that, I am planning to get up for sunrise. I will come back to this spot tomorrow. I have another day here as well in which I'm going to try and find a different scene, and I'm going to try and photograph that as well. But I think I've got two sort of shots lined up here, a more sort of traditional landscape photo with strong leading lines, and then the low down one with the stinging nettles, unfortunately, because my knee does itch now, that has the sort of blurry foreground interest. Maybe that'll be too busy, I don't know. I'm going to go back to my room and I'm going to look through the photos, and then I'll get going very early in the morning. I don't like getting up early. Absolutely covered in these tiny flies. Rather worryingly, there's actually some police tape just behind me, so I'm assuming somebody hasn't had a great time with their car around here.